Welcome to episode 11 of the Selective podcast. I'm your host, XR, joined by our co-host T and a very, very special guest for this week's episode. Joining us on the pod this week is Ramon, but you all know him on Instagram as My Worst Fits. Guys, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into the intros, man. T, welcome back to the show, bro. How are you?
Doing good, man. As always, pleasure to be on. I'm excited to get into this episode, and excited as always.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for coming on as always and facilitating the conversation. Ramon, dude, thank you so much for joining us on the pod, bro. How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. It's great to be on here.
Yeah, man.
Good podcast.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're hyped to get you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, T like does the facilitating for some of these episodes, and I guess he reached out to you initially about coming on. So T, I appreciate you helping out and obviously doing the work to help get these guests on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's always cool to have a guest on, especially someone like Ramon, who, just like myself, you're able to see a certain side of them on Instagram, but you're not always able to, hear their voice or, learn more about them. There's only so much that pictures on a social media account can portray about a person's character. So I'm always excited to get different individuals onto the podcast and, hear a little more about them.
100%. Ramon, dude, a good place to start off, man. One, like we said, appreciate you coming on the pod, but a little bit about yourself is a good place to start. I guess first and foremost, how have you been doing this past year with the pandemic? How have you been holding up?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, it's great to be on. Love this podcast.
Appreciate it.
But I've been doing great. The past year's been good change of pace. Really appreciate taking things a bit more slow and being a lot more intentional with things that I'm doing. So it's been great, honestly. I've preferred it in some ways.
Right. Yeah. I think we all, I guess, enjoy I don't know. The pandemic has been a good reflection period. T, I don't know if you agree with that, just to kind of see, rebalance ourselves, if you will.
I would say the same. I've had a lot of time to, be able to spend time with the people that I care about, my friends and family. Also, we're recording this podcast on Mother's Day. So
yes.
Shout out to all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've had a lot of time to think about myself, spend time by myself, with university being online and all, you get a lot more time to just be at home and I guess figure out what you really want to do with your life. That's as deep as that sounds. That's definitely something that I've been doing a lot.
Right.
And yeah, totally.
For sure. Ramon, bro, where are you based out of, man? Give the people some insight on where you're at.
I'm in San Francisco right now.
Yeah. Is that where you're from? Is that born and raised?
I grew up in just the Bay Area, and also Seattle. So I just got back from Seattle, maybe half a year ago. I've been here for about 6 months, 7 months, something like that.
I'm from the Bay Area. I know we were talking a little bit before we recorded. My family's all in San Francisco. So when you told me that, it's a little nostalgic to hear that because I haven't been back in a couple of years, dude. Pandemic, everything else, So it's cool to see homies out in the Bay Area. How was living in Seattle and what's it like being back home, if you will, in the Bay?
Seattle's a great place. I say it's pretty laid back, but there's this thing called the Seattle freeze, and it's this concept where people are just mad untalkative and no one talks to each other in the streets, and it's mad weird. Everyone hates each other, and then you come to it's crazy coming back to San Francisco, and people are super talkative and everyone's super open to conversation. I feel I never have conversations with people on the street unless I'm when I'm not in Seattle, it's super weird.
Yeah, I feel that a lot, man. I grew up in Switzerland, and in Switzerland it's the same, people kind of just mind their own business and they're very much to themselves. So you'll never really get to spark a conversation with a random person. Whereas in New York, the period of time that I've lived there happens all the time where I'll be wearing a certain sneaker or a certain jacket or anything, a certain piece, and a random person on the street will be yo, I fuck with that jacket or whatever. Oh, you like Raf? That kind of stuff's happening all the time. Oh, I fuck with your Jordans. And that's crazy. That you can relate to that in terms of the American landscape as well.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I was actually in Oakland, and I was going to this store called Standard and Strange.
Yeah, that's a good store.
Yeah, they stock a bunch of Capital and just Japanese Americana and whatnot. But like on the way there, this old man like stopped me, and I was wearing a Capital Boro jacket,
Mm.
and he's like started chopping me up, and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't expect this guy to even be into like fashion and whatnot, and it was just a really cool experience. Like,
Fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude,
That's
it's awesome.
interesting. But believe it, oddly enough, my dad actually buys from Standard and Strange online. And they're
Really,
based out of Oakland. Yeah, it's weird, dude. Like, there's a bunch of old heads into like the Japanese Americana stuff. That, like,
dude, it's
you
so
wouldn't
cool.
expect it.
It's sick. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, my dad buys Capital and shit. It's so weird, bro. Like, my mom buys Capital too. It's like, what the hell? Like, they have like more drip than I do. You know?
Dude,
That's funny.
yeah, another funny story. Do you know Cotton Sheep in San Francisco?
I do not know.
Oh,
I
okay.
do not. Yeah.
It's a smaller business. They're family owned, but they've been stocking capital since like 2003,
Oh, nice.
2004, since like the beginning. And I actually worked there like part-time for like a little while, and there would always be like all the people who shop there are like not kids. It's weird. Like it's
Mm.
not like people like us. It's like old like textiles like ladies. Like, you have the craziest conversations just like talking to them, and it's like they're not into fashion, they're just like into like the weird like indigo dyes and whatever and what have you.
Right.
It's really refreshing. It's cool.
Yeah, I see that out in Japan a lot as well. Like the few times I've been to Japan, the people that are walking around like Harajuku, like the back streets where there's a bunch of vintage stores or like Capital and whatnot, they're not like young people, you know, they're not teens and stuff. You know, in the United States, I feel like it's very much like the streetwear scene is dominated by very young kids or teenagers and whatnot. But out there, I mean, I guess vintage and like brands like Capital that focus on craftsmanship and whatnot, I guess that there's more appreciation out of those brands in the older population. And so that's actually a very big culture difference that I noticed while I was out in Japan as well.
Yeah, they take it more of like a lifestyle type thing
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
I think we all start like liking clothes because we like, how things fit on our body. And then, T's also made some trousers too. And like, I think, he's talked about on the pod, like the goal is to just make something, like have something to be proud of craftsmanship wise, something that goes like just beyond wearing a piece of clothes.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so speaking of clothes, man, your Instagram, My Worst Fits. How did the name come about? First of all, bro, how'd you get that name?
Bro, I don't know. Like another account, and I won't say it is, but it's also like kind of self-deprecating. But I just I was just like fucking around on handles, and I was like, all right, like, that sounds good. That was like a spam page for like the longest time.
Oh
And
shit.
like I don't know what happened, and it just kind of like people start like fucking with it. And I was like, I guess so. I just had like it had like 20 followers. I was just like posting like the randomest shit on there. And then eventually I was like, okay, maybe I should watch what I post on here just because like it's a public account. But
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
want to hear the story about your profile picture on that account too.
The Capital, it's from Capital. I think I was looking at like a catalog or something. I'm a big fan of Eric Kavatek
Mm.
and like what he does with Capital. I just think he's a really interesting character, and like his just in combination with Kiro and how they interact. There's a really cool like Capital documentary, and it just like documents them doing like one shoot for like a certain season. But anyways, yeah, it's just a screen grab from one of the lookbooks. I just thought it was hella funny. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a good picture, and I feel like nowadays it's kind of like synonymous to me with your account. Like I'll just see it and I'll be like, boom, My Worst Fits. Like,
it's kind of funny. Like there are these like mood boards be posting like that photo, and then mad people in the comments will be tagging me like My Worst Fits. It's hella funny.
yeah, yeah, that's funny. Like that you say that because I used to have a George Condo painting as my profile picture for a long ass time, and nowadays it's crazy because I'll go on Instagram and it's like hella people have a George Condo profile picture now. Like that's so funny to me. And that exact picture that I used to have, I'm not sure if it was Young Water Gun or another one of these bigger mood board accounts. They posted that exact picture that I used to have as my profile picture. And hella people in the comments were like, at TMP, this looks just like you. They're like, this looks just like you and shit, like tagging me. And I was like, what is going on, dude? Like, it's George Condo.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I've seen fulls of that the George Condo painting. It's cool, man. It's funny how you can associate people like their profile pictures with accounts.
Yeah, it's really unique to Instagram, or it's like this new social media.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
For sure, man. Getting into your style, bro, going back like from the beginning of your page, I guess, and correct me if it's crude to say this, right? Like, correct me if this is not accurate, but I think a lot of people originally like associated you with like the Vujade aesthetic, right? Like the
Yeah, yeah.
cargos, um, a very clean look, mind you, like a very
Mhm.
nice clean look. And then like recently we've seen you kind of transition into like Japanese Americana, a lot of capital, a lot of denim, indigo, boro. And we can get into the details of that in a bit, but um, where did your like style first start, and how did you get into, I guess, that Vujade aesthetic, if you will?
Yeah, so I guess like fashion for me, I've been into it for maybe since like high school, but it was more so that I didn't really care about clothes. I was just obsessed with like tearing shit apart and like remaking stuff.
Hmm.
And it kind of came from like my interest just in like collecting, I guess like borderline hoarding shit sometimes.
Right.
And I was just super interested in making clothes at first. And I guess that kind of what got me into fashion. But as far as like from my where my Instagram started, um I was into like minimalism
Mm.
and at first. So like a lot of my fits were like super simple. And I guess I kind of transitioned into liking Levi's and like 501s and just collecting like interesting pairs, which is how I found like Vujade or like Ken's shit.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was like super clean and like very plug and play, I guess, like in the way that like Vujade works well with like any wardrobe. I feel like you can just hand one of their pieces to someone and it'll work.
Mm.
And I found it super easy just to like put a clean fit together. But I guess I just kind of I still enjoy it. I just I guess kind of grew out of it and am more interested in I guess how clothes wear and tear with more interesting dyes and construction and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel that. Um, I see a lot of people actually kind of follow that path, well, where they're like be introduced into like the Japanese world of fashion and whatnot, like through Ken's videos. I've said it
Mhm.
before. I mean, since he's basically like a unique English perspective on life and fashion in Japan, it's like very easy for people to get into it through his videos. You know, they're so organic and easy to watch. And yeah, so I've seen that path actually be followed by a lot of people over the time that I've been on IG, like where they'll start off and they'll be like, oh, Vujade, whatever. And then eventually it'll be like, okay, I don't actually maybe love the whole streetwear Japanese. I kind of like the craftsmanship stuff Japanese. So they'll go into Visvim and they'll go into Capital and, they'll go into all of that. So I definitely feel that shift, but I totally agree also with the comment that you made about it being very much plug and play.
And it's
Since
not
all
like
their
a bad
pieces
thing
are,
per
yeah,
se.
it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, I feel like it helps a lot with the sellability of the goods at the end of the day because, like, for me, getting dressed in the morning has to be easy, right? I don't want to spend 30 minutes every day kind of thinking about like, oh, what the fit am I going to wear to the fucking grocery store, right? Like, I just want to put on a pair of pants and then I want to put on a t-shirt that doesn't have any branding on it and, be able to put that on with a pair of common projects and get out of the house, right? And I think that Bujaday's stuff, like especially their pants, they're very like minimal in terms of branding. And
Mhm.
so that makes them very, very wearable. I think, you could wear any of their pants if you think about it with a white t-shirt and like a pair of common projects, and that would be a fit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I still wear Vujade. Like I feel like it's like what you're saying. It's like the clothes I wear when I don't want to think about what I want to wear, and it'll still look clean. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
agree with
sure.
that. And in retrospect, I mean, Ken's new stuff too with his new collection, a lot of good pieces as well. And it's just a good like, I think like T mentioned, like you said, it's a great way for people to like get introduced to a different side of the streetwear landscape, and then kind of evolve from there, and still incorporate those pieces later on, which is something that you said you still do. So yeah, it's just interesting how like the Vujade aesthetic has like a name to it now, and people cling on to that, you know.
Yeah.
Bro, so moving on into like your love for Japanese, you touched on it a little bit, but really, like, was there a defining piece that you bought, maybe like a Capital Boro or like a Capital Denim? Was there like a defining piece that you bought that kind of solidified your transition, if you will, from a different style?
Um, it was for sure a pair of just like plain selvage denim.
Mm,
It's just like it just gets you way more interested in like repeatedly wearing that product, and
Definitely.
it's super in line with like Japanese Americana in general. So I feel like if you want to make the jump to like that aesthetic, just cop a pair of like selvage denim. They're mad cheap. They're not mad cheap, but like the amount that you wear them like basically counters out how much like it costs. So I don't know. I always recommend people like pick up a pair of full counts. They're like $300 straight from like Okayama, and they're pretty great. But it was definitely that. And then I think like when I first realized like how much I appreciate the craftsmanship was the Capital Boro jacket. Like it's a
Yeah.
really once you see it in person, it like pretty much changes like your mind if you dislike it or not.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
crazy.
beautiful jacket, 100%. That's a piece that I've always like been very intrigued by, but I've never really copped because I feel like I would it's something that I would love to look at, but I don't know how much wear I would get out of them. I mean, I would associate the Boro jacket closely to the undercover 85 denim.
Yeah.
I've had two pairs of the black 85s and two pairs of the blue 85s. And out of the four pairs that I've had, the only pair that I've ever worn out of the house was the black pair, and it was for like 20 minutes, I'd say. And I was just like, I just can't be out. Like, I just feel like it's a hard look to pull off, especially the blue pairs. That's a
mm.
hard look to pull
Yeah,
off. And
100%.
now that Bari did that garbage endless denim, I got like I don't know. I got a little turned off of the 85s, and they're also so expensive nowadays. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you said. Looking at that item online doesn't give it any justice. You have to like look at it in hand. You know, you feel it. You get to see that at the end of the day. That's an extremely well crafted piece, and
Yeah,
so that's where my respect lies with those pieces. Is just I respect the craftsmanship for sure.
dude, yeah, that the piece just carries like so much weight. And I've like always said like I think it's funny, like even if someone was to make like some Taobao rep, it would still be a real Boro jacket. Like
Yeah,
it's like not it's like the ultimate thing of like it's not because it's capital that's cool, it's because it's a Boro jacket. They just so
yeah.
happen to be it, you know?
I don't know about the Boro jacket, but I remember that all the pairs of 85 that I had, they had this very particular smell. I don't know,
Really.
like I can't put my name, I can't put my finger on what it smelled like, but it had just such a unique smell. And like to me, it just smelled like, I don't know, like craftsmanship. Like, smell kind of like when you walk through
Some sort
vintage
of
stores in
aura.
Japan. Yeah, no, seriously though, like when you walk through vintage stores in Japan, you can kind of like smell that. And I specifically the blue pair that I had of the 85s, they had this really strong smell, but it was like, it wasn't a bad smell. It was kind of just like unique smell. You know, I
Mm.
don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah, it kind of just reminds you that like back when the pieces were made, like it was probably just like June sourcing a bunch of fabric and whatnot, like himself. It's like
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a jacket that that's actually on my grill list, and they don't go for like too much. You can get one for like 15, I think, right now, which isn't too bad. So
it
it's a
depends
piece
on the
that I want to
iteration.
cop. Right, right. Yeah, it's a piece I definitely want to cop, and I feel like it's just like a beautiful piece of clothing to like look at and like appreciate the construction and the story behind Boro and everything that goes on with it. Um,
It's just such a good conversation starter too.
mm.
Oh
Oh, is it?
yeah.
Yeah, dude. I get like mad people ask about it in public, just like random people, because they're just like, what the hell is that? Like
Yeah.
it just looks weird. But yeah, cool piece.
No, but it's clean. Going back to what you said about selvage, actually, I bought a pair about 6 months ago of selvage denim in when I came back to Texas to visit my family in Austin.
Mhm,
And like I make it a point to like wear that pair like 3 or 4 times a week.
mhm.
Even like when I don't, even like when I'm just going to the grocery store, or whatever, because it's easy. I can just throw on like a pair of Jordan ones, whatever, like a vintage tee, or even like a pair of boots, and it looks good. And just like
Exactly.
seeing how like I haven't washed them yet, so I'm interested to see what happens after I wash them. But I think like next month I'm gonna like give them a good soak and just see how
Yeah.
the denim comes out. But like it's also been a good way for my dad and I to bond, interestingly enough, because he's into that stuff too. So him and I like talk about the process and like the little intricacies you can see, because like I have mine single cuffed and like the bottom of the cuff starting to like it's starting to get fucked up.
Yeah, the heel bite.
Yeah, dude, and it's just like
Fire.
it's like a conversation starter, and it's a good way for like people to like appreciate clothes. So I would agree with you. If you're in the market to get into like, you know, Japanese, you just buy a pair of selvage denim and wear them to the ground because that's what they're made to do, you know.
Which pair did you get, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a pair of I don't know. I'll check. I have a few pairs. I also have a pair of Gustin. I think Gustin's out of San Francisco as well. But those I don't wear as much as the other ones that I beat in. But I'll get back to you on that. I think they're unbranded if I'm not mistaken. But I'll let you know. But yeah, I mean it's a great pair. Like they just like wear out over time, and you kind of see, you know, the little intricacies of your wear, like you know your pockets, right? Like whatever pocket you leave your wallet in, you see like the imprint and shit, you know. And it's just interesting to see how every pair is unique.
Yeah, dude. And also just like the texture that like Japanese selvage has is insane. Like, because they have all the old American machines and they just be like fucking with it and like changing how they weave. And you get like really interesting slub patterns and whatnot. Crazy texture. It's sick.
For sure. I mean, we've touched a lot on bottoms, you know, selvage denim, and then you talked a little bit about your choices in jackets, the borrowed jacket, you know, Americana style as a whole. What about sneakers or footwear? What do you feeling these days? I know I've seen you wear a lot of boots and shit recently, so
Yeah, sneakers, goated sneaker always is Common Projects.
100%. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, Collegium's cool too. I typically just wear like Jordan 1s, Converse, a lot of Chuck 70s. I'm in the market for some Converse addicts for sure. Yeah, mostly just Converse, Common Projects and Jordan 1s as far as sneakers are concerned. Yeah.
Dude.
Also New Balance 574s. I love those.
Yeah, good picks. I've been telling TJ to hop on the Collegium train, bro. I think he would appreciate those a lot. I have 2 pairs. I'm sure, Ramon, you can vouch for them, but they're a great pair of sneakers, huh?
Yeah, I think they use similar leather cuts from like as Common Projects. They feel like equally as plush.
Damn. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about them for a while. I think I might eventually have to get a pair, but so far I'm very happy with my Common Projects. So
yeah, I actually don't have a pair of Common Projects, dude. Which
dude, you have to have.
I know everyone's been.
But pro tip: never buy a pair for retail. All right, if you go on Grailed, there's this one guy that's based out of Poland, and he sells brand new pairs in box and everything, and he'll sell you a pair for like $300 or like $280 if you're able to negotiate a little bit. But you can always get a brand new pair on Grailed for like roughly around $300. And retail is like $420, I believe, and then you add tax depending on where you are.
Right.
I told you I have 8 pairs of all white Achilles lows, and I've never bought a single pair of those at retail. So that's a pro tip. Don't pay retail.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we used to go for like 300 like back in the day.
Yeah. The retail's definitely been going up steadily. I mean, and I heard that they actually like switched factories or something like that. So like around 2 years ago, the quality on the actual pairs decreased. I personally haven't noticed that throughout my ownership of different pairs, but I have heard that rumor that they're not as good quality as they used to be.
Yeah, I noticed that with the B-ball low ones, like the Air Force model they do. They like completely switch the outsole, and it's like it looks mad weird now. Like
Damn, I didn't notice that.
Another thing you mentioned is Converse, dude. I feel like the Chuck 70 is just so good. I feel like it's become a little bit of a meme because like the Chrome Hearts pair or whatever, but like just buy a pair of like Chuck 70s or like the made in Japan Chucks. And like those are like everyday shoes, you know?
You need Converse addicts, dude. Those are like insane.
Really?
They're so heavy. Yeah. I got a pair of the Wacko Maria Chuck 70s, and they're like this weird like leopard print, but it's like in a camo type thing. Like they did like their own like they developed their own camo pattern. It's super sick. But you know, Chuck 70s are just like great sneakers to like wear every day. They're mad comfy.
100%. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Converse. Actually, yeah, I actually have a pair of Chrome Hearts Converse.
Of course he does.
But I got those. Like, what's crazy is that I have a friend whose name's Albert. Shout out to Albert. He's from Myanmar, and I met him I was at a summer camp in New York, like a college prep camp. And he was taking these courses with me, and I met him. And at the time, Chrome Hearts was not what it is today at all. Like they had just opened their flagship location in the West Village, right? And I remember I went with him, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to go to Chrome Hearts after class today. And I don't remember if he was like, what is Chrome Hearts? I'm not sure if he knew Chrome Hearts, but I remember he wasn't very familiar with the brand for sure. And we went there, and we walked into the store. And if you guys have ever been to the flagship Chrome Hearts store in the West Village in New York, they have like these glass cases at the back of the store. And in these glass cases, they'll usually have like custom work by Matty Boy, who nowadays is their creative director. But back then he was just a guy that dated the daughter of the family, right? And we walked into the store, and there was a pair of white Converse that had been like custom done by Matty Boy by hand. And I already knew who Matty Boy was. Back then he had like 5,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. Like he was very low key. And I was like, yo, these are sick, right? Like I really want to buy these. And then I asked the person that helps me out there to this day, I was like, how much are these? And she told me they were $1,700 for a pair of Converse, right? And I was like, damn, that's steep. Like, I don't know if I want to pay that. And she's like, do you want to try them on? And I was like, like, sure, I'll try them on.
Did they have the daggers and everything on them?
Yeah, of course. I'll put up a picture on this podcast. But and so I remember trying them on, and they fit me perfectly. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, I feel like I have to. And I looked at them up close. You guys will see in the pictures that I'll add, but they're actually like extremely detailed. He does all the details, everything by hand. All the studs are in silver. There's the daggers on the back and whatnot. And I was like, damn, I feel like I have to buy these. Like these kind of look sick.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, yo, I don't know who Matty Boy is. And I was like, yeah, bro. I mean, and I explained to him like what I knew at the time. And he was like, oh, okay, that's sick. And I ended up buying that pair. I didn't buy it that day because I went home and I like slept on it. And
the classic you sleep on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, $1,800 from the Converse. But at the end of the day, I ended up copying them, right? And the other day, well, not the other day, like around a year ago when Chrome Hearts started really popping off again, I posted a story with my Matty Boy Converse, and everybody was like, yo, where the fuck did you get those? And I was like, yeah, I've had these for like 3 years now.
Damn.
And what's crazy is that I went in Chrome Hearts the other day, and there was a pair of Chrome Hearts Converse sitting at the back of the store again. And I thought the design looked cool and all. And I was like, yo, can I see those? And she was like, yeah, of course, whatever. She brought them out, and I was like, how much are these? And they were $2,700.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the price, they up to the retail by $1,000 on those pairs. And it doesn't surprise me at all, because I've seen people like Justin Reed, shout out Justin Reed, sell Matty Boy Chrome Hearts Converses for like $4,000 resale.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy how people are paying these kind of prices for Converse. But at the end of the day, I mean, $1,800 is also a crazy price to pay, right? So I guess it's all relative.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. You definitely can't find them for that much these days, bro. Like,
no chance
whatsoever. I mean, you're just better off getting a pair like made in Japan or Chuck 70s. But
yeah, I agree, 100%.
But the craftsmanship, I'm sure, is insane.
There's actually a lot of fake. Sorry to cut you off. There's a lot of fake Chrome Hearts Converse on the market. Actually,
really?
A shit ton of fake ones. Yeah. And so you got to really be careful. I mean, especially like a lot of these fakes actually use real silver, which is crazy to me. But
yeah, that's scary.
I mean, it shows you how advanced the replica market's getting.
Yeah, it's getting insane. Remember, for boots, what boots are in your rotation right now?
I'm a big fan of Red Wing, just the classic mock toe.
Yeah,
I have this pair of these boots that are like these like bespoke type, made in Oregon, or they're made in Oregon, I believe. I'm blanking on the name of them, but they use this really nice like thick reverse leather that's like waxed and looks really sick. This like insane texture. I'm also a big fan of like derbies, so I have a pair of Hender Scheme, like I forget what the name of them is, but it's like half like, it looks kind of like a water shoe up top, but like a derby on the bottom. It sounds stupid. I'll send you guys a picture, but it's really sick. Yeah, that's like my main rotation for like boots right now. Just like Red Wings and a classic shorter boot. Also have a pair of Wheaties coming in
Gee, everyone's got a pair of Wheaties coming in, dude.
Come on.
Come on, man. Back
Dude, I
zip or
just
front
feel like
zip?
they're back zip always.
Yeah.
Come on.
Fire. Yeah, I agree. It's good. You got to go back to it.
Yeah.
I just feel like the front zip just looks really weird. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I totally agree. Like for me, it's just
Cyborg shit or something.
yeah, cyber exactly.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, yeah.
Like it was on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't quite pin what it was, but it's true. They just look like cyborg, like
Dude,
especially with the fact that the zipper is like big, you know, so it just like sits there in the middle and the front. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I just can't like I just can't do it, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like the back zip looks so clean.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'll just wear just like a good like throw in some like all black fits. Easy.
Yeah. What color did you get?
Black, yeah.
For sure, man. Did you get them used or did you get them new? Did you get them off grilled?
Yeah, I got him off my friend in Japan actually. He bought him and then he was like, I don't want him. And then he threw them to me for like mad cheap because he got them off like Yahoo auctions.
Yeah.
Bro, they be throwing steals on Yahoo auctions on like everything.
Yeah. No, they really do. But it's because like people in the Western world, it's like 1% of the fashion population is actually checking out and shopping on Yahoo auctions. So shit goes for steals, man. Japanese people will be eating those steals, let me tell you. But speaking on the Wheaties and like the all black look, you know, shout out to Silver League, you know.
Yes, sir.
Join the uniform out there.
Dude, that shit's so funny. That picture is good for sure.
Yeah, that picture is good. It is like the whole staff.
Actually visited their space like a few months ago. I was in LA and I was linking with Rashawn Richardson. Shout out him. He's like the coolest dude. I swear he's like he's basically doing like all the back end stuff of like everything on like as far as like that type of fashion goes, but super cool guy. And like I went in there and they were dead ass like all wearing that. Like it wasn't a joke. Like
literally, it's not a joke, bro. It's a lifestyle.
It's an inside out vintage tee. Fucking black 501s, black boots, bro. You know?
Yeah, dude, this shit's hilarious.
The classic look.
I mean, they got a soap too, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that's funny, dude. Yeah, I'm in the market for some Wheaties. I feel like everybody is, though, man. Kudos to you for picking up a pair. I'm definitely gonna try. In the summer, man, I just can't, just because I'm in Texas right now, and I'm gonna go back to New York in like a month, and it's just so hot. But I think this fall, I'm definitely gonna cop a pair. So super stoked that you got it. All right, moving on, guys. Ramon, you're working on some new projects in the books. You have a website, repairedrags.com, and you also have an Instagram for that page. I guess give the people some insight. What is Repaired Rags and how did that start for you?
Yeah, man. So Repaired Rags started as like mostly like a just way to put out one of ones and just like other stuff I made. And I guess I had the idea to kind of really want to make something more substantial and like unique.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like actual clothing production, and I actually got in contact with Gianetti out of Los Angeles, who basically he does other people's stuff like Reese Cooper, like Stotts Billette, whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I always just like appreciated their quality control. So it's been great. I've been working with them. I actually have my final sample for a jacket I'm trying to release coming in this afternoon.
Oh wow!
So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's been a process for sure. I know T, we've talked about you struggling with like making your trousers, and it's like how much effort it takes to put out a piece.
Oh yeah, man. No, I mean I tell people this all the time. Like it's overlooked how like time consuming it actually is to make a final product. Like sampling is not an easy thing to do, you know, especially if you want to actually produce a quality garment. You're not talking about one sample or two samples. Like there's always new changes. Like the most minute details always have to be looked at. You know, if you're overlooking those minute details, then you're not really producing a quality good at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And so, I mean, at least in my personal experience, sampling is just such a headache, especially when you don't live in the same country as your manufacturer. So you also have to be, you know, delayed by postal works and whatnot, you know, the fucking USPS. Yeah, everything, yeah. You know? And so it's definitely a process, but it's cool to hear that you'll be getting that final sample in soon. So what is your goal with the brand? You know, what do you really want to do? Are you plan on like releasing capsules or individual pieces, one-offs?
Initially I had an entire like capsule like planned out. but like this shit's so expensive to make. So I kind of just want to take it slow and release individual pieces, but in the future, capsules for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned this jacket that you're working on. What was the sampling like for that jacket? And if you're comfortable with giving us like, I guess a little tease on what the jacket looks like the cut, what is the piece that you're working on?
Yeah, man, I can send you pictures when it comes in. But as far as sampling goes, it was honestly like not the worst, just because I think going into it, I really wanted to work with a factory that understood like my brand image
Mm.
and just was able to communicate. So I think I found a good space within that factory, just because everyone who works there is sort of younger and they understand like current fashion, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. So it wasn't like hard explaining to them that, oh, I want more of like a boxier cut or whatnot, and they understood what that means. Um, but yeah, as far as getting the first sample, I basically did like the design on Illustrator and made like a design flat, gave them some measurements, like what I wanted to, how I wanted to fit and whatnot. And we kind of just went back and forth, emails, FaceTime,
Mm-hmm.
and that amounted to like the first sample. And then after that, just like fitting, sleeve length, too long, whatever,
Right.
fabric makeup. But you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't the worst.
And I'm sure you're like paying attention to like the intricacies and like the details of this jacket and the products you want to make. I mean, is your inspiration military workwear, Japanese Americana? Are those going to be the inspirations for repaired rags?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. I don't want to really hold myself to like a certain aesthetic. I for like the time being, what I'm interested in is Japanese Americana, so it'll reflect in like the stuff I put out. But yeah, I think staying more in line with like military and just overall wearable garments for sure. I don't think I want to go like too avant-garde,
Right.
just because I appreciate clothes that are wearable but still look like really beautiful, you know?
Yeah, I think that you nailed it on the head right there. I mean, especially your point about not wanting to box yourself in. I think that that's really important. A lot of people, especially when they're starting off, they make that mistake where they're like, all right, this is the certain niche that I want to hit. And then it's a lot harder for you to, evolve past that niche than it is for you to start broad and then narrow it down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. And moving on past the jacket, jeans, denim on the way too. Is that something that you're working on as well?
Dude, jeans are insanely hard to produce,
Really?
but
Yeah.
dude, yeah, because it just matters so much where you get the fabric from. And like obviously, like if you want to make like a nice pair of selvage or like a nice pair of denim, you're probably just gonna want to get like Japanese fabric. And like communicating with a like Japanese mill is like the hardest thing ever.
Really?
Like,
Yeah. Especially if you don't speak Japanese, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of holding off until I get like a little more experience, just because like if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it right. And I want to put out like a product I'm proud of,
definitely.
but that'd be great in the future for sure.
Have you been to Japan or is that on the wish list?
I haven't. I was planning on going like this year, but
Yeah.
COVID can't, but sucks. Soon though, 100%.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'll open their borders to people who are fully vaccinated. And so, if that's the case, then once I get my second dose, and I plan on making a trip in the not so distant future, hopefully.
Yeah, it seems like stuff's going by like advancing pretty quickly now as far as the
Yeah, in the
pandemic.
U.S. For sure. But actually, I was talking to Giz yesterday or the day before. Shout out Giz. And he was telling me that in Japan, actually, the vaccines are not progressing at all. He's like in
Yeah.
Japan and in South Korea, like only the very, very old population, the elderly, have been able to get the vaccine. They're getting no Pfizer out there, no Moderna. They have like a specific kind of shot vaccine that's being given out there. But yeah, I mean, I heard that they've not been prioritized with the vaccine, so that's unfortunate to hear for sure.
And they have a lot of older people out there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Japan, I think, has the largest aging population in the world, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, Ramon, I feel like Japan and you would be like a match made in heaven going out there, hopefully when things open up, maybe you can get out there and do some vintage shopping. And not only that, just like sourcing like fabrics and stuff. I feel like that'd be right up your alley.
Dude, yeah, that'd be like ideal.
Yeah, for sure. Um, moving on, bro. I guess away from the realm of clothes, if you will, but any hobbies that you're into right now? Any books you're reading, music? What have you been doing as of lately outside of the clothing space?
Yeah, I've just been taking things pretty slow, picking up books again. Big fan of Murakami,
Mm.
great author. Um, I feel like he just portrays he's known for a lot of like insane like crazy like creative stories, but he also has like this side of him where it's super mundane, and I feel like I just like vibe with that more, and
Hmm.
it's just like interesting reading like like it's borderline boring, but if you just like absorb yourself in it, it's pretty interesting to like just watch these characters do normal shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that with movies as well. Like sometimes it's cool to have an action-packed movie, but sometimes I just want to like chill out and kind of just like you said. I mean, there's beauty in the mundane as well, right? I mean,
Yeah,
let me see if I can. I
Therapeutic.
think there's a movie called, I believe it's called Robot and Frank. Don't quote me on that, but I'll put up a picture on the podcast. And it's a movie about this old man, and it's like in kind of like like dystopian future, but not really, where he just has like a robot helper because he's old, and it's
mm,
just like about him and this robot, how they like grow a garden, and they just go about like day to day life, and it's actually like a really really nice movie that I really enjoyed, and it's very underrated. I believe it won something at Sundance, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, so like you said, I mean, I personally enjoy a lot, like being able, because life, especially nowadays, is so hectic, and so sometimes you kind of just want to sit back and enjoy something slow, right?
yeah, exactly.
And you can find like philosophy and therapy in the mundane too, whether it's in movies and books and stuff. In music too, man. Just like stuff that can just like ease your mind. Um,
Yeah.
but other than books, what else are you getting into recently?
I've been getting like more into vinyl just because
Mm.
like I feel like it puts a certain like when you buy someone's record, I feel like it just kind of puts a certain respect on it when you play it, and it's less mindless than just like streaming it on Spotify.
Mm.
So I feel like you really just like get more absorbed in the artist's work, and I think it's really special. But
Yeah.
as far as like music artists I'm listening to, I've been getting into this band. It's like a psych rock band called Speed, Glue, and Chinky, and like it's like the craziest shit. It's nice. The I think the main guitarist, he was like mad popular like in the Philippines for some reason.
Mm.
Like he's like a like legend over there. He's like known as like their Jimi Hendrix or some shit.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're really cool. Their vinyl is like one of my grails, but it's like $2,000 or something because they never reprinted
Damn,
it.
Damn.
But
damn. But in terms of genres, what do you feel usually in music? Are you a big rock guy, chill music?
I like a little bit of everything. Jazz, psych rock, alternative, whatnot. I think I prefer, I don't know, but I also like house music as well. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like I I don't limit myself, and I just kind of like give everything a chance. And if I like it, I like it. And I think music's really interesting in that like even if you don't speak the language, you could still like get like that emotional connection to it, which is really
Mm.
sick. I
yeah.
think it's really unique music.
On that topic, I recently started fucking with Italian music. Honestly, like I feel
Sick.
like there's a lot of bangers that are in Italian. I barely understand anything, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of good songs. And like you said, I mean, I feel like you don't have to really understand the lyrics to be able to relate to the sound, right?
Mm.
Yeah. T actually put me on Polo and Pan, this French like house. It's like EDM house. I think you would appreciate them,
Yeah,
bro. Ramon, I think you might appreciate them. Polo and Pan.
Yeah,
They're like an avant-garde like EDM group.
yeah,
And
yeah,
my girlfriend and I on the drive back to my parents' house. I'm at my parents right now visiting. It was like a 4 hour drive, and I was fucking listening to Polo and Pan the whole time. It was really really nice, you know.
yeah. Shout out Polo and Pan. Honestly, they're fire.
yeah, bro. Send me some songs outside the podcast. I'll check them out. Also, I've been listening to this like Japanese band from like the 60s or 70s, but like they basically pioneered like shoegaze and like whatnot,
Mm.
and like no one like knows about it, but like well people know about it, but it's just like people don't understand like that they were doing it before like all like Velvet Underground and whatnot. But yeah, they're called La Relais de Nudes or something like that.
Mm.
But like the main guy, he basically went like Mia for like years, and like no one's heard about him since like the 90s, because there was like, it's crazy, like this thing happened with one of the band members, and they were like involved in like the Japanese like Red Army, if you know what that is.
Jesus Christ.
And
That's
like
crazy.
they basically like hijacked a plane and flew it to North Korea.
Oh, dude, I saw a YouTube video about that recently, actually.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Dude,
So he was in that band?
yeah, he was in that band. I think he was the bass player. So like after that, all the band members like super sketched out because like they thought like the CIA was watching them and whatnot. So like no one's heard about them for like years, and like all of their music that's out is just rips from like live concerts. They never like really put out anything. They've only put out like one project, which is crazy.
That's
Like,
interesting. Kind of like the
the whole
Grateful Dead.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot. I feel like Japan has the. I was getting into like Japanese city pop, like 70s, 80s, like old vinyls. That people like play on YouTube. It's beautiful music, man. I feel like Japanese music is just beautiful music.
Yeah, it's super well crafted.
And speaking about, well, not Japanese music because they're not Japanese, but there's this band actually. I think they're called the Japanese House, and yeah, they're fire. I'm pretty sure they're American, but they have some banger tracks. I mean, if you guys like chill music, and should check them out.
Yeah,
I've heard about them. I haven't like really dove into their discography though. Should check
Yeah,
them
no,
out.
they're good, man. I think they have a song called "Saw You in a Dream." I believe that's what it's called. That's a banger, man.
Damn, we're gonna have to post that on Selective Spotify playlist when those come out.
Yeah, we're gonna get one of those up before summer for sure for you guys to enjoy. So yeah.
I think we hit a lot of ground today. Before we get you out of there, obviously wanted to say thank you for coming on, and T as well. But anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out, before we end it off.
Let's see. Shout out Ray Mia.
Everyone shouts out Ray, bro. That's the homie.
I feel like he's just like the hardest working person, and like, dude, I don't know. I fuck with him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I've actually
he is a good guy.
I've known him through like Instagram before, like even like I started posting and whatnot. Just I think I talked to him about some like indigo denim like back in the day, like hella long ago. But yeah, shout out him. Shout out Joel. I know he was on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth, just like friends and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically it.
Cool, man. T, anything you want to plug before we get out of here, bro?
Yeah, shout out to Ramon for coming on for sure. Make sure you guys check out and stay tuned to his project, Repair Rags. And yeah, stay tapped in also with the Selective. We should be having a new drop coming out this Friday or over this coming weekend. A lot of good stuff going to be on there. And as always, shout out to all you guys for watching the podcast, for always interacting with us. And, we're excited to get more episodes out for you guys to enjoy.
I will have my worst fits link down in the description below, and our website, and also our Instagram. Keep it locked in with the Selective guys. As always, we have more editorial content, and as T said, drops on the way as well. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.